are gleaming, sweet music fills the air, with joy and love our hearts are teeming. Roll the boatman, roll, soar the sea, with steady hand, and splashing oar. We lie beneath the moon so bleak, till home again we'll be once more. Row, boatman, row, boatman, row, boatman, row, us o'er the wall.
I used to run a ferry boat on the Gannel in the evenings. She wanted a bit of repairing. And an old chap called Captain Jim Matthews said, "Bring her in fly, Reg, and I'll repair her for you." All right. I pulled her all the way in across Fishel Bay, in fly.
It's a long way.
Yeah, got her up, got her in fly cellar, and there was these 3 gigs in the cellars that I hadn't seen since 1914, when the old men used to race 'em. Well, I said, "What are these gigs doing here then?" Well, stored up. Well, I said, "Why can't we have 'em? Instead of leaving them there, all you've got to do is go and find out and see the shareholders." Well, I didn't know anything about much about what shareholders it was. I said, "No, I must put it in somebody else's hands." And I put it in a man called Dick Clemens and Bert Clemens. There's another Clemens. And they started the ball rolling then, and that was how the rowing club was formed.
We were the small boys, and we had the job of getting the dirt, the newspapers and the corks out of the gigs, you know.
Full up, were they?
Oh, everything was chucked in there, you know, old crab pot corks. Then we got landed with scrubbing them out and rubbing them down and painting.
Were there only 3 gigs then?
Though back before then there was the Teaser, there was the Girl I Love, and the Defiance. The Defiance and the Girl I Love was gone years before my time, but the last I saw of the Teaser, she was up in the back of the car park in St George's Road, upside down. There for a chicken's house, I think she was then.
You had the Newquay, the Dove and the Trifry?
And the Trifry. That was our 3 old gigs.
And they hadn't been used since 1914?
1914.
Why did it all end then?
War started.
They were built as slight as possible to stand a heavy sea, and the object was that each one built was always claimed to be faster than the original, and as they built them to be faster, they increased the length of each one. Well, the Newquay is 30 feet, the Dove is 31 feet, and the Trifry is 32 feet long. Well, they were used to take pilots out to incoming vessels, and it was a tradition that the first pilot aboard got the job of piloting in the vessel, and the crew of the gig was usually composed of stevedores, and they got the job of unloading the vessel when they got it into harbour.
I think it was James E. Gill telling me they were up waiting for a vessel for piloting in, and the other gig got the job, but they turned tail to come home and they hoisted their sails. Well, until I heard about this, we hadn't thought about sails, you know. But whether it's right or not, but he told me that they came from the outer quay where the ship they'd been waiting for. So the rocks you see off the Trevose Lighthouse.
Yeah.
In back here, just on the half hour. Wind on their tail, and everybody leaning out over the gunwale to keep her right.
How far's that?
9 mile, I think. Yeah, but apparently in those days they had sails.
Row, boatman, row, row, boatman, row, row, boatman, row, us o'er the waters blue.
How did they know when a boat was perhaps coming down the coast off Port Isaac?
There was no telephones, but there was always fires. They could light a fire. The same as when the Pilchers was on, they used to light a fire. There were lookouts all the way up the coast, and they would light a fire. That's the way they got to know what was coming.
Where the lake is now was simply a morass, what you might call, swamp. You couldn't go down there in the winter times, it was impossible. The mud in the roads and the lanes down there.
And the council wanted to turn the old swamp down there into a lake, and they asked for volunteers. I was one of them. We were on the dole, see? We had to supply our own shovels. I had a long handle shovel, some had a short handle shovel, and the council agreed that they'd give us a dinner a day and a packet of tea a week. Get no money because we were on the dole.
I'd been told you had a passy given to you.
Yes, there were pasties. Damn me, of course there was pasties. That's a Cornishman's dinner. And we used to start about 9 o'clock and knock off 4. In those days, a man called Jack Jenkin, he was working on the council, he was in charge of us. So what we had to do, cut the turf out of all the centre and bring it over to the banks it is now, and lay the first ones on, see? Then the next layer, we put on that one, and then one would grow into the other.
A wall of turf.
Yeah, turfing. That's what they call it. Old Cornish. We made a turf wall around. Which is a good hedging, see? That's what the farmers used to do. And you had to be very careful. A man called Edwin Trethewy, he was older than me, and he was going on, he went up to his knees in mud. We had some damn job getting out. Then, when we'd finished, it was quite a to-do. We had a big opening day down there. There was 3 or 4 of us, had a boat each, to pull them around the lake, to open the lake.
And did you feel that you'd done a pretty good job?
Yes, I did. And we did it for nothing. They wouldn't do it today, mister, would they now? Come on, tell the truth. They would laugh at you, wouldn't they? They've got a damn good living doing nothing. But I think what really put us down, we're almost, but not, promised a job on the council. But it didn't come off. They had us.
Well, of course, there was the great concert always, and that used to be a tremendous feature.
Did you ever go?
Oh, many times. It was a lovely thing. It used to be always, of course, a low spring tide, and the local men were asked to be in charge, and we'd all trail across, taking our candles with us and perhaps a camp stool, and we'd get into the big Cathedral cavern, which was beautiful for singing. It had the most wonderful acoustics. And there was a natural stage at the end, a bit of rock that stuck out, and hundreds of people went. You see them streaming across.
Yes, Father used to help to carry the piano out there. If you want anything in Newquay, ask Dorothy. He would do anything.
You mean a piano was carried over the rocks and over the beach?
I don't know if he did it, I'm sure.
Into the caverns?
We never went in, yes.
And then you'd have a very good show indeed.
What sort of show?
Well, it was a variety show. There were always good singers who sang good music. And then there'd be little sketches and amusing scenes, and it lasted just about the hour. And the men were watching the tide, you see, outside. And then when it was over, we all had our candles, of course. It was quite dark, but it looked lovely with all these little sparks of light all around the place. And we all thoroughly used to enjoy that.